Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Esteemed FaceTime with Leaders, an initiative by World Development Corporation. I am Tanay All at World Development Corporation. FaceTime with Leaders is a platform for industry titans to come together to share their knowledge, ideas, thoughts, and experiences with one another, as well as with upcoming future leaders. In a nutshell, we attempt to encapsulate the multi-decadal learnings of all our industry stalwarts. We hope that by conducting these FaceTime with Leader interviews, we can bring together a global community of eminent personalities. By bringing together such visionaries on one platform, we hope to play a part in inspiring the lives of other leaders. Great learnings from great leaders undoubtedly assist everyone by identifying, nurturing, and using the trade secrets that are proven success formulas for so many. And this is what we aim for with these sessions by making them a gathering of industry stalwarts and a knowledge sharing community. We have one such industry titan on FaceTime with Leaders with us today, Mr. M N Prasad Mudigonda. He is an eminent senior management professional with a remarkable career spanning over 3 decades, boasting a wealth of experience across renowned global companies including Oracle, IBM, and Temenos. His leadership prowess is well demonstrated as he excels at working collaboratively across all levels of an organization, including boardroom discussions, while also establishing strong relationships with external stakeholders. He has orchestrated complex multi-million dollar client engagements in both India and overseas, leveraging a diverse portfolio of products and services. His proficiency in defining business strategy, policies, and methods has been instrumental in steering the success of varying organizations. We welcome you on the show, sir, today.
Thank you so much.
So, Prasad, sir, to begin with, could you provide an overview of your professional journey and highlight the key achievements in your more than 30 years of career, particularly your roles at Oracle, IBM, and Temenos?
Sure. I'm happy to be with you today, and thanks for the opportunity to share my thoughts. Before I begin to talk about what I accomplished in Oracle, IBM, and Temenos, I wish to take a step back into time. My journey in computer industry started mid-80s. And at that time, the situation was very different compared to what it is today. Many of the companies that are in operation today did not exist back then. Yep. I was fortunate to have joined a company by name ORG Systems, which is part of Dr. Vikram Sarabhai Group based in Baroda. Today we call it Vadodara. Okay, and that company was so good at pioneering some of the best technologies. I had the privilege to join them as an entry-level engineer and then grew up the ladder to head the region as regional manager. What did I learn there? I learned quite a lot. Integrity, hard work, technology skills, team management, customer engagement, contracting and negotiating, all of that. That helped me to put myself on a very strong footing. And over the years, whatever I have delivered, accomplished as an individual, as a professional, was all because of that strong foundation laid back in the mid-80s. Okay, now if I come to the present, what I have accomplished at Oracle or Temenos or IBM, there are a number of things that have happened in terms of technology that changed rapidly from then to now, in terms of customer requirements, in terms of the way we deliver a solution, in terms of various other aspects. It has crossed all the boundaries of region, country, and it has now become cross-border. We are delivering solutions to clients overseas. I take pride in doing some of the things that many of my contemporaries could not achieve. For example, would anyone be able to say how in a race course where people and punters go for betting are computerized? That's what I have actually been part of. Computers predominantly were used for bookkeeping to doing some of the best analytic solutions using artificial intelligence, machine language, etc. I have been engaged in such projects, whether in telecom, in banking, or education, industry. There are countless examples that I have, in front of me, where I have led teams both within domestic customer segment as well as overseas. Later, some of the marquee clients, which, for example, when I talk about marquee clients, I had the privilege to interact and discuss at length with Dr. Muhammad Yunus of Bangladesh, who was the recipient of Nobel Peace Prize in 2006 and founded the Grameen Bank. He pioneered the concept of microfinance. At Temenos, I had the distinction of solutioning some of the requirements for large microfinance industries based out of Bangladesh, India, and South Asia. While at IBM, I had the great honor to meet some of the best brains in the government departments who happen to be IAS officers with a pedigree in technology. I had devised a solution called Smart Cities, where IBM actually pioneered it at that time. And I had been instrumental in coming up with a complete report where the entire smart city of Hyderabad was conceived, interconnecting various other departments such as water, roads, and municipal administration. This paved a way for IBM to get into other cities and help them coming up with a smart city-based solution. This was very unique at that point in time. On the banking and financial industry, I had the opportunity to very closely work with the top management of State Bank of India in Mumbai. They had huge requirements in terms of satisfying the customer needs on a regular basis. So I was instrumental in working out a data warehouse project at that time in IBM to fulfill the requirements of various customers across the length and breadth of the country and help them with deeper insights of customer preferences, customer choices, depending upon their geography, where they live, what they do, where they come from, and so on. So that was a very critical project for State Bank of India at that time. Subsequently, at IBM, I had the privilege, I must say, because IBM is one such company where they encourage people to pick up new jobs, new roles. I had always had one question in my mind: why do projects fail? As a seller or as a sales leader, if I sign up a contract, if it goes well, it is to the satisfaction of the customer and to the organization who has sold it or who has contracted it. But many a time we see that the contracts that have been signed don't really remain on track. So with that curiosity, I went to take up a role in project management and, more importantly, project risk management. As a result, what happened that I gained proficiency in project management principles, in project risk management, where I was given the task of bringing projects which are in troubled state into proper projects with absolute fantastic deliverables, and the customer remained with IBM forever, and the revenue from that account or from that bank grew subsequently year on year. So these are some of the achievements and important things that have happened at Temenos, at IBM and Oracle.
So you've demonstrated effective leadership skills in various organizations. Can you describe a specific instance where your leadership has had a profound impact on the success of a project or team?
Sure. To me, leadership is about constantly keeping abreast of technology, market dynamics, and customers' needs. And you must speak the language of the customer. And the customer must perceive the value in that particular conversation. So what does it mean? You become the trusted advisor to the customer. Correct? And the leadership also is about reposing faith in your team. When I say my team, the team could be a sales team, the team could be a delivery team. So you must repose faith in your team, on their ability, on their skill and passion. Empower them, train them, mentor them, coach them, let them learn on the job and correct their mistakes if there are any. As a leader, ultimately, your goal is to win. And to me, leader should lead by an example. He should have punctuality, he should have integrity, he should have the skills and the ability to stand up when a person or an individual fails to deliver on his commitments. This is, I think, to me, the biggest takeaway in terms of leadership skills. Let me quote an example. Many a time, we are all, as employees of a large organization, are given goals, especially as a salesperson, sales quota, if I may call it, on a quarter-on-quarter, year-on-year basis. We all accomplish that. The team accomplishes it. But there are times when one must stand up and refuse to take a contract with a particular customer for reasons that are beyond your control or your budgets. So I would narrate an example where there was a very large contract that was on the table, but because of certain challenges that I perceived could arise in future, we had to step back. I had to step back personally and take a hit. I said to my management that this project, if contracted, would run into trouble and we would lose money on it. All right. So that was a very brave call at that time because it was at the cost of meeting certain numbers. And that was applauded and that was appreciated. Over time, the same project ran into rough weather and the vendor who contracted that project approached me as a friend and informed me that my decision of walking out of that project was very, very appropriate for that time. So that was a very, very happy feedback that I received. And such are the decisions I think I have taken in my professional career, not just to go pick up everything that comes by, but to stand up and say no, which is the most difficult part in the journey of any professional working for a company.
So how do you approach defining business strategy, policies, and methods? Could you share an example of a strategic decision you have made that has significantly influenced an organization's trajectory?
Sure. Strategy is all about how well you know about your own organization, your addressable market, your products, basically your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Ultimately, how well you are prepared to take a plunge and burn money and time on that. Therefore, definition of objectives, goals that are measurable, time-bound, realistic, and achievable is going to be critical. One must have policies defined which help in achieving the business goals. For example, your HR policy, your pricing policy, if you are a product or a services company. What quality standards have you defined? What sort of internal approvals one must go through to make that engagement or that contract happen? Is it legally covered in all aspects? Are regulatory compliances going to be met? So there are a number of things. I think these are the policies that a company must be prepared and to face whenever they encounter a particular customer situation. Then
So how
comes,
do you, yes, so I'm so sorry, sir.
yeah. Then comes, how do you deploy the resources to achieve these business goals? How much finance have you kept aside for this? Do you have the IT infrastructure as a support mechanism? Do you have proper collaterals which are vetted by legal that you could go and execute? And of course, the human resources. Yeah, you please go ahead.
So how do you explain the evolution of your personal skills and ethics into corporate governance?
Sure. As I mentioned at the beginning of this conversation, that my foundation was in the formative years of my professional career, where I have been taught the importance of integrity, values, and trust. Ultimately, the objective is how well you practice when you are part of a company, however big or small it may be. Do you display the kind of ethics, integrity, which are absolutely paramount? And whether you are an individual contributor or a team leader, you must display those qualities at all times. So these parameters have actually ingrained in me. So at any time, I would advocate that a person carrying these virtues will always be successful in the marketplace. Corporate governance is all about doing things in the right manner, not just by yourself, but if you are leading a team of individuals, bring them onto that same platform of having highest levels of integrity and ethics. Let pressure not overtake you at any time, because pressure is going to be there at all times, whether it is on delivery, whether it is on production, whether it is on sales, on finance, several areas in any organization. So let pressure not overtake you. So I encourage that every individual or team associated has to have these virtues all the time in place and keep up the spirit. For example, I am a mentor with Technology Hub, which is part of Telangana state government. And I'm happy to be mentoring some startup organizations in different fields. Apart from guiding them on the industry, the technology, business growth, expansion, and so on, the fundamental philosophy that I have always coached them about was on the virtues one must display in being a successful enterprise. So people have excelled after some of these aspects have been implemented in their day-to-day operations. I'm happy and proud to be saying that today.
So, as an ESG and corporate governance expert, what values do you bring to the table?
My experience was predominantly in IT domain and engagements with multiple customers in different industry verticals. I was always mindful about potential dangers to our environment, social fabric through our actions. If I was going and talking to a pharma company, I was mindful of what could be the challenges or concerns if a pharma company violated some of the regulatory requirements or environmental concerns. And I used to unknowingly at that time discuss with them about that. And they used to respond with certain answers that they felt were right. Therefore, today, ESG being the most critical aspect of any business, I would strive to encourage everyone to not compromise and look at just short-term gains, but also keep in mind and care for future generations. Avoid wrong practices today, even if you are compelled to, because in the long term, they will have created unnecessary complications for the organizations. I am now a certified independent director, and I commit to play the role of a fair, independent, and neutral person in standing up when certain decisions and actions are compromised. I shall certainly stand up for the larger interest of the society, environment, and equitable benefits to all at all times. This is the pledge I would take before embarking on future journey.
So, what are some of the most remarkable changes you have seen in your field with changes in technology, and what changes do you expect to see with the advent of IoT, AI, ML, blockchain, big data, and Web 3.0?
Oh, this is a very long list. As I said, when I began in the mid-80s to what and where things are standing today, it's a phenomenal change.
Yep.
The evolution has been nothing short of a miracle. I remember days when, as an engineer, a 10 megabyte hard disk used to weigh about 65 kilos, and it required some 4 or 5 people to hold it at the 4 corners and shift it from place A to place B. And today, you find that you are carrying in your pocket a mobile phone which comes with a, I don't know, 128 or a 256 GB, manifold increase in the storage. Everything today that you come across comes with a personal touch. Shopping, entertainment, tourist places, travel, name it. It all comes with a flair of personal touch. Systems are getting more intelligent. They are getting more personal and present to you what you like to see. Sometimes you end up seeing things that you may not like. It happens. But most of the time you end up receiving information or data that you like to see. They, when I mean they, the person who is serving you with that data or information knows more about you than your spouse, perhaps, on the lighter vein. Therefore, what happens? Privacy is being compromised in the process. Coming to AI, IoT, etc. I think this is going to stay. it is going to get better and better in the days to come. Homes, cars, industries, hotels, power generation units, power grids, aeroplanes, name it. They're all getting much smarter every year, much bigger every year, and by the way, more efficient. With that comes the increased responsibility of protecting the environment, protecting the surroundings. Are you caring for humanity around you, the society around you? It comes with a larger responsibility. While technology helps, the downside of technology, the expansion, the growth needs to be looked at to ensure that we have a equitable society to live in. We have our future generations to be happy. So technology will stay. Technology will continue to give us more and more things in the days to come.
So we're building a community here of industry magnates. The move is meant for cross-pollination of knowledge and building a knowledge-sharing community of corporate giants and industry experts. What are your thoughts about this initiative taken by Mr. Zishan Pathan, Mr. Heval Mehta, and the whole World Development Corporation team?
Sure. Today, every individual or organization aspire to achieve growth and success. That provides them with reputation, fame, name, money, power, position, etc.
Yeah.
They are recognized in the society. But for sustainable and equitable growth, we need to have a long-term perspective and not just worry about profits in the short term. And in today's highly competitive global environment, adherence to practical and ethical ways of conducting business is increasingly critical. Any word on wrongdoing crisscrosses the world in a matter of seconds. Here comes the need to have a diverse set of people with skills and knowledge, each one bringing an expertise to the table and who can play the role of a balancer or a moderator. I'm here to support any such cause comprising of industry experts and contribute to my capacity. I'm happy to be part of that and associate myself. That's a great initiative and I welcome it.
Great, sir. It was fantastic conversing with you, and I'm confident that your insights will greatly inspire future leaders. Thank you for joining us today. Wish you the best for your future endeavors. Moreover, trust that this initiative by Directors Institute has unquestionably expanded the participants' understanding and enriched their minds. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, sir.
Thank you so much today.